Hi there, I'm Vincent Bos, and I'm a life coach, relationship coach, and breakup coach. You can change the language of this podcast in the YouTube video settings. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing how to be good enough for your ex. I provide audio coaching for breakup recovery, trying to get an ex back, attracting someone new, and life coaching. Visit www.dateme.tips for more details. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. Subscribe to my weekly support emails. The link is in the description. So now let's get back into today's podcast. And today we are discussing how to be good enough for your ex. So if you have been dumped and want to try to get your ex back, you feel as though you aren't good enough. So what can you do? In today's podcast, I'll be discussing 3 things that you need to do to be good enough in your ex's mind. So let's get straight into this, and point number 1 is make a list. Now let me know in the comments if you would change something about yourself for your ex. Let me know in the comments and let's see what the community thinks. And point number 1 of today's podcast is to make a list. And the list I would like you to make is a list of your ex's goals and dreams. Now, if you say you don't actually know what your ex's goals and dreams are, well, that is a bigger problem at play, because that suggests that you don't actually know your ex very well indeed. And if you were together more than just a few months, or even just a few weeks, I would expect you to know some of the thoughts and feelings and goals and aspirations in your ex's mind. And if you were together for many, many months or years, you certainly should know this. And if you don't, whether or not it's because your ex won't tell you, or whether it is because you just never really asked or have those conversations, there is a bigger debate at play about your compatibility. But let's say, for instance, that you do know at least some of your ex's goals and dreams. I would like you to make a list of those and then ask yourself, are you aligned with those goals and dreams? So just to give a very quick example, let's say, for instance, your ex wants to travel around the world. Okay? Do you want to travel around the world? Do you align with that goal? Because this is something really, really important that you need to be asking yourself. Am I aligned with the goals and dreams of my ex? Now, after you have done that, I would like you to make a list of your goals and your dreams. And then ask yourself, is my ex aligned with my goals and my dreams? Because this isn't just about your ex, this is about you both. This is about you just as much as them. For your relationship to succeed, we need you to be compatible. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be exactly the same as one another. In fact, I would say that blending into one person is a really bad idea. You need to stay individuals, but you need to be teammates and you need to be compatible. You need to complement each other in how you connect. And hence the point of point number 1 is, by making the list, considering whether you are aligned with your ex and whether your ex is aligned with you, is to then see whether there is an opportunity for you both moving forward. What I mean by this is, if you, as we gave in that example, do not want to travel around the world, but your ex-bedumper does, well, is there real hope and opportunity for your relationship? You might say, well, yeah, we could be long distance. But listen, long distance relationships rarely work. And in reality, they only work when they once again become short distance relationships. If your ex wants to travel around the world for 3 years, that is not likely to ever be the case. So the point of this exercise is to actually see, is there something that you and your now ex-bedumper can work towards in the future? Because sometimes, unfortunately, we get to that realization that yes, we were very compatible with our former partner at one time, but going forward into the future, sadly, we are not aligned. We have grown apart. Now, maybe beyond the future of what we know, maybe you could realign once more. Maybe years down the line, after they have travelled around the world, as the example I've given, maybe they come back to your hometown, you coincidentally are single at that point, so are they, and who knows what might happen. But you can't put your life on hold. And this is irrespective of the goals and the dreams and the aspirations. It might have nothing to do with travel. The point is, you can't wait around. Your ex-bedumper hasn't waited around. Unfortunately, they've ended the relationship because they didn't feel that things were working. They didn't feel that there was compatibility at this time. It doesn't mean that there can't be in the future, but the future that we know of so far, they don't believe you two are aligned going forward. And hopefully this exercise will help you see if you actually have any possibility of working out at all. Now, of course, today's podcast is about how to be good enough for your ex. And hence, you might have done this exercise, written down the goals and aspirations of your ex, and thought to yourself, right, I don't actually really align with those things. However, I think I could alter my life. I could change myself to match that. And that is not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, in reality, it is the only way you will be, quote unquote, good enough for your ex-bedumper. But, and there is a big but, a big caveat, you should only be changing if it's something that you really want to do. This can't be for your ex, as much as that is the prism you are looking it through. You have to do this for you. If this is a change that you view as positive, something that you would like to do and become, then that is great. The byproduct of which is you are now more compatible with your ex. However, if unfortunately this is something that you don't really care for, but you just want to change for your ex, well, it won't work out. We can only act for so long, and at some point, you would become frustrated, upset. The alignment is not truly there. So making the list can be very helpful, and it can be something that you then work towards to be more compatible in the future, but only if it is genuine change that you believe in. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast. Please give this video a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you like my content, subscribe to the channel to keep updated. And point number 2 is change your mindset. So today we're speaking about how to be good enough for your ex, but point number 2 is crucial because I'm actually suggesting that you change your mindset. Don't think that you're not good enough, okay? We need to alter that straight away. Instead, we need to focus on you believing that you are good enough for anybody to have a relationship with. Let's raise your self-esteem. Let's raise your confidence. Let's ask the question, are they good enough for you? Let's not look at it as if you're on your hands and knees looking up to your ex. No, you're equals, or even perhaps you are a little bit taller. The way we do this is to focus on being your best self. So yes, we've written the list and we've seen if there are tweaks you could make and those types of things that I've already said to make yourself a bit more compatible, but let's actually then focus on making ourselves a better person. Whether this is your health and fitness, which again is for you, not for your ex, but the byproduct of if you improve your health and fitness is you are going to be more physically attractive, but ultimately it's for you. On top of that, we can consider education, become more intelligent, smarter, and better prepared in the world for you, the byproduct of which is your ex-bedumper and anybody else is going to be more attracted to you likely if you have improved yourself in this way. Maybe you want to become more creative. Again, this is for you, the byproduct of which is you become more attractive to everybody else, including your ex. Let's grow your skills. Let's join new classes, groups, and clubs. Let's become a better person today than you were yesterday, and a better person tomorrow than you are currently today, becoming a version 2.0 of yourself. If you are thinking to yourself, I am not good enough for my ex, I don't know what I need to do to be good enough for my ex. Well, as I've said, let's alter that mindset. Let's think, I am good enough, but I'm going to raise my own standards. And by doing that, you will automatically be good enough through any way of looking at it. Whether you believe you are worse than your ex, as good as your ex, better than your ex, if you improve your own standards, your own life, your own skill set, your own health and fitness, everything about you, you will of course be somebody who is more appealing to your ex-bedumper. So if you can't figure out what to do to increase your chances of getting your ex back, you may as well start by focusing on you. Let's take it inwards. Let's stop thinking of our ex. Let's stop obsessing. Let's stop sitting at home alone, wondering what our ex is doing, and instead use that time productively to actually be a more attractive person. And you do that by being a better person, a more successful person, a person that when you put your head on the pillow at night, you know you have done your best, you know you can't do any more, and therefore you can rest easy. Now, if you would like advice and support about how to try and increase the chance of one day getting your ex back, then you may want to consider my audio coaching service, where me and you can speak one-on-one about your unique specific situation. This is the best and diamond level of support that I can provide. Go to my website www.dateme.tips for more information about how I can become your coach and your teammate via my audio coaching service. Talking about your feelings can also improve your mental health. It helps prevent the buildup of negative emotions, which can lead to stress, anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues. Speak your heart to free your mind. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast. If you feel that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description. And point number 3 is multi-criticism. So this is something that I don't actually believe I've spoke about, certainly not in any great depth, in or across all of my podcasts, which have now surpassed more than 1,000, and hence I think it is something that it is high time I actually spoke of. It's a really useful technique to try and align yourself and raise your standards and everything in between when we're trying to become a better version of ourselves and somebody who is better attracted in our ex's mind. We need our ex, of course, to want to be with us. That's the goal, that's the aim. How can you do that? Well, use the multi-criticism technique. I would like you to think of things that your ex-bedumper criticized about you. Now, that's not a nice thing. I appreciate you probably don't really want to dwell on that, but there are going to be things that your ex said about you, to you, I mean, not behind your back, although if that sadly was the case, you can use that as information to help you in this way as well. But I'm talking about the things that they probably actually said to you, okay? What did your ex-bedumper say during your relationship, let alone the breakup? The breakup can count as well, but I'm talking about in the relationship. What did they say as a criticism to you? And then I want you to consider, were any of those things that they said things that other people said as well? And that is the point. We're not thinking about the things that your ex-bedumper criticized you about, but they were the only ones. No, we're talking about things that they said which were negative about you, but also other people have said as well. Because if you've had negative feedback from multiple people, especially people who maybe don't really know each other or have anything to do with one another, then there is a greater likelihood that maybe you need to work on that part of your life. If multiple people have said that same negativity about you, it doesn't necessarily have to be too serious, although it could be. It could be something which is just unfortunately a bit repetitive that people are saying. This would suggest there is some truth to it. And it would suggest that if you want to be quote unquote good enough for your ex, these are the things that you want to be really focusing on to try and improve upon. Now, what could this be? Well, there are of course a whole manner of possibilities, but let's just speak about 3 right now. One, probably the first that springs to my mind, is anger management. Maybe you've been told that you have no fuse. Maybe you've been told that you get angry very, very quickly. Perhaps this is something that multiple people have told you across your life. And this was something that your ex-bedumper specifically said was something which concerned them. This is the time to work on that. Now, you likely need professional help. This is the time. You're single, you want to get your ex back. Why not spend some time on figuring out what it is you need to do as a person to get through to a point of where anger management is something you can manage much better and control yourself in those ways. If you need to control your emotions in that sense, this is the time to put in the work. This is the time to go and get that professional help, okay? Because when else are you going to do it? So think about it in that regard. Now, anger management is just one suggestion. There could be, as I said, almost infinite possibilities. Another very, very different thing that this could be about is timekeeping. Maybe your time management is terrible. Maybe multiple people have said this to you across the years. Maybe this is something which really got your ex down. If this was something that you need to work on, maybe you can sort this out without needing professional help, or maybe you need professional help with that. I mean, even through my audio coaching service, I've coached people to be better with their time management. So this is something that you may or may not need professional help with, but it is something that you need to figure out. If you are someone who always arrives 25, 30 minutes late, then the most simplistic advice I could give you is, if you know that always happens, start doing what you need to do 25 to 30 minutes earlier than you have been doing. Whatever time you think, okay, I should start doing this now. Well, you know you're always half an hour late. So start half an hour earlier than you even plan to. Okay, that is some very, very basic advice, but it could be very helpful. Sort your time management out. Now, the third example we're going to give in this point number 3 is personal hygiene. Okay, maybe you've had multiple people say this across the years, and you didn't really realize that it was something which was turning your ex-bedumper off. You need to sort this out. You need to make sure you are attractive in every single way to the person you want to be attractive to. Because if you want to attract someone, this isn't just something which you do one day of the year. Okay? This is a 24/7 attempt to try and be the most attractive version of yourself. And if something is letting you down, in whatever way it may be, this is the time to sort things out, alter your lifestyle, alter your life patterns, figure out what you need to do, and become that best version of yourself. And remember, the whole point of the multi-criticism concept is that we're considering it from multiple people. This isn't just your ex saying it. This is multiple people have said it, and hence there is likely to be truth in it. And if there's truth in it, you need to sort this out to stand any chance of being good enough for your ex.